All right, today we're unpacking a story that's, well, it's a wild one. It sits right at the collision point between immense political power and the wild west of digital currency. We're going to be looking at some pretty serious allegations connecting the Trump family to a crypto project with, let's just say, some very interesting features. And on top of that, there are claims that presidential tweets might have been used to play the markets for huge profits. So yeah, let's get right into it. You know, this quote from journalist Chris Hayes really kind of nails the feeling of our times, doesn't it? We are kind of living in a real golden age of scams, and it's so true. When you have all this new tech and all this money flying around, it feels like complex financial schemes are just popping up all over the place. It's the perfect backdrop for the story we're about to explore. And that really gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. I mean, what happens when the incredible power of the US presidency smashes into the crazy, unregulated world of crypto? Well, as we're about to see, those lines between, doing your job for the public and making money for yourself, they can get really, really blurry, really fast. Okay, so let's start with Exhibit A, the family's crypto project. We're going to look at a very specific crypto venture here, one with some incredibly deep and direct ties to the Trump family. It was called World Liberty Financial. So if you looked at this project's own Meet Our Team page, before they took it down, that is, it was basically a family affair. You had Donald Trump listed as the chief crypto advocate. Then you had his sons, Don Jr. and Eric, as Web3 ambassadors. That's supposed to be about promoting the next-gen internet. And get this, his youngest son, Barron, was the DeFi visionary. DeFi, of course, standing for decentralized finance. I mean, seriously, how often do you see an entire first family on the leadership team of a crypto startup? It's pretty wild.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting, because you have this massive gap between the vision they were selling and what was allegedly happening behind the curtain. The public pitch? Oh, it was all about a decentralized platform for financial freedom, cutting out the middlemen for regular folks. But the alleged reality? Well, their own documents reportedly showed that a whopping 75% of the net revenue was going to flow straight to a Trump family LLC. And here's the kicker, that same LLC apparently didn't even invest any of its own money into the project.
And it actually gets even more concerning when you start digging into the actual code of the project. Critics say they found something called a backdoor blacklisting function. Now, what does that mean? Well, to put it simply, it allegedly gave the company the power to just freeze your tokens, or even confiscate them whenever they wanted for whatever reason. I mean, that is the literal opposite of what crypto and decentralization are supposed to be all about. It's total centralized control.
And look, you don't have to just take our word for it. Listen to Justin's son. He's a huge name in the crypto space, and he poured millions into this thing. He put it perfectly. He claimed the whole project was basically stopping him from selling his own tokens, and he called it a trap door marked as an open door. Wow.
Okay, so let's recap. We've got this crypto project with deep family ties and some really questionable features. But believe me, the story doesn't end there. Not even close. Now we get to Exhibit B, the tweets, the timing, and the trades. This is where we look at the claim that presidential tweets were doing more than just communicating policy. They were being used to manipulate the markets. So check this out. One source we looked at pointed out this incredibly specific pattern that kept happening around the Iran conflict. It's like clockwork. You can see it on the timeline. Trump makes a threat, and bam, the markets, especially oil, go crazy. Then, just a little while later, he walks it back, and whoosh, the markets swing the complete opposite way. This wasn't a one-off thing. It happened again and again, creating this perfect, predictable wave for someone to ride. And we are not talking about chump change here. One report zeroed in on a single trade for $950 million. A nearly billion-dollar bet, placed just moments before a ceasefire was officially announced to the public. I mean, come on, a trade that huge with timing that perfect, it doesn't just raise red flags, it practically screams from the rooftops. So that leads to the obvious, billion-dollar question, right? Who on earth is making these massive, perfectly timed trades? Who has that kind of information to know exactly when to bet huge amounts of money on these political events? And because we're talking about the crypto world, with all its anonymity, it's really hard to know for sure. But the implications, man, they are seriously troubling. Okay, now we're going to zoom out a little bit. Because some analysts look at all this and they don't see separate, isolated things. They see pieces of a much, much bigger and more ambitious plan. They've dubbed it the Great Digital Reset, and that's our Exhibit C. So, the theory basically goes like this. Step 1. You manufacture a crisis, something huge, like a war, that gives you the justification to use emergency powers. Step 2, you come in with a solution, a brand new digital currency to fix the economy and manage all the debt. And then, Step 3, you end up with a system where the government has total centralized control over every single transaction anyone makes. It's a pretty clear path, right? From crisis straight to control.
And if you're wondering, okay, but where's the proof for a theory like that? Well, the people who believe it will point you right back to World Liberty Financial. Think about this. The project announced that early investors were locked in. They couldn't sell their tokens until the year 2030. Now, why is that date so specific? Well, it just happens to be 1 year after Trump would leave office if he served another full term. As you can imagine, people on social media saw that and immediately started calling it a hostage situation.
But wait, there's more. The story even has an international angle. Reports claim that just 4 days before the inauguration, a sheikh from the UAE plowed $500 million into World Liberty Financial. Okay, then just a few weeks later, what happens? The US government suddenly approves a really sensitive tech deal that just so happens to benefit that same sheikh's companies. A deal, by the way, that had been blocked for years because of national security concerns. The timing is something else. So at the end of all this, you have to ask yourself, what do we make of all these pieces? You've got the family crypto project. You've got these impossibly well-timed trades. You've got a huge foreign investment, followed by a sudden favorable policy shift. How does it all connect? Well, one of the sources we reviewed had a, let's call it a very pointed and very sarcastic take on it.
Yeah. Their conclusion after laying out each one of these points was always the same deadpan line: these events are unrelated. It's obviously a jab, right? It's poking fun at the idea that you could look at this whole string of incredibly convenient, highly beneficial events and just brush it all off as one big coincidence.
And really, that just leaves us with some pretty tough questions to chew on. Like, was the presidency itself being used as, and this is a quote from one source, a family crypto ATM?
And what about the timing of it all? Were all those market-moving announcements and those massive trades just a string of unbelievable luck? Or was it a sign that something far more coordinated was going on behind the scenes?
And maybe the biggest question of all is this: as we head deeper into this world of digital gold, who really holds the keys? I mean, when the lines between raw political power, personal profit, and the entire global financial system get this blurry, who's actually in control? And maybe just as important, who's getting left in the dust? It's a lot to think about. Thanks for joining us for this explainer.